Then from the moorland, by misty crags, with God's wrath laden, Grendel come. The monster was minded a mankind knew sundry to seize in a stately house. Under welkin he worked, till the wine palace there, gold hall and main, he gladly disowned, flashing with fretwork. Not first time this, did he the yame of Hrothgar sought, yet ne'er in his life day, late or early, such hardy heroes, such hell-thanes found. To the house the warrior worked apace, parted from peace. The portal opened, though with forged bolts fast, when his fists had struck it, and baleful he burst in his blatant rage the house's mouth. Earl hastily then our fair paved floor the fiend trod on, irefully strode. There streamed from his eyes fearful flashes, like flame to sea. He spied in the hell their hero band, kin and clansmen, clustered asleep, hardy liegemen. Then laughed his heart, for the monster was minded, ere morn should dawn, savage, to sever the soul of each life from body, since lusty banquet waited his will. But word forbade him to seize any mere man on oath after that evening. Eagerly watched Halak's kinsman his coursed foe, who he would fare in fell attack, not that the monster was minded to pause. Straightway he seized a sleeping warrior for the forced, and tore him fiercely asunder, the bone frame bit, drank blood in streams, swallowed him piecemeal. Swiftly thus the lifeless corse was clear devoured, even hands and feet. Then farther he hied, for the hardy hero where hand he grasped, felt for the foe which fiendless clare for the hero reclining. We clutched it boldly, prompt to answer, propped on his arm. Soon he saw that shepherd of evils that never he met in this middle world, in the ways of oath. Another weight with heavier hand grip at heart he feared, sorrowed and sore. None the sooner escaped. Fain would he flee, his fastness seek, the den of devils. Nae Danes knew, such as oft he had done in days ahead. Then bethought him the hardy Halak thane at his boast at evening. Up he bounded, grasped form his foe, with his fingers cracked. The fiend made off, but the old close followed. The monster meant, if he might at hell, to fling himself free, and far away flee to the fens. Knew his fingers poor in the grip of the grim one. Gruesome march to hear at this monster of harm had made. Din filled the room. The Danes were bereft, castle dwellers and clansmen alls of that ill. Angry were both these savage hell gods. The house resounded. Wonder it was the wine hell foam in the strain of their struggle stood. To oath the fair house fell not. Too fast it was within, and without, its iron bands craftily clamped. Door that crashed from sill many a mead bench. Men had told us, gear were gold, where the grim foes wrestled. So well had ween the wisest shieldings, that not ever at all might any man that bone-decked brave house break asunder, crush the craft, unless clasp of fire in smoke engulfed it. Again uprose, din redoubled. Danes of the north with fear and frenzy were filled, each one, way from the well that wailing horde, God's foe sounding his grisly song, cry of the conquered, clamorous pain from captive of hell. Too closely held him he who a men in might was strongest in that same day of this war life. Not in any wise would the Earl's defence suffer that slanderous stranger to live, useless deeming his days and years to men on oath. Now, many an old a Beowulf brandished blade ancestral, fearing the life of that lord to shield, that praised prince, if poor were theirs, never the knew, as they neared the foe. Hardy-hearted heroes of war, aiming their swords on every side, they coursed to kill. Nae keenest blade, nae fairest of falchions fashioned on oath, could harm or hurt that hideous fiend. He was safe by his spells from sword of battle, from edge of iron. Yet his end and parting on that same day ere this war life woeful should be, and his wandering soul far off flit to the fiend's domain. Soon he found, we in former days, harmful in heart and hated of God, on many a man such murder wrought, that the frame of his body failed him now. For him, the keenest souled kinsman a Herlock held in hand. Hateful alive was each to other, the outlawed dire took mortal hurt. A mighty wound showed on his shoulder, and sinews cracked, and the bone frame burst. To Beowulf now the glory was given, and Grendel, thence death-sick his den in the dark moor sought, noisome abode. He knew too well that here was the last of life, and end of his days on earth. To all the Danes, by that bloody battle, the boon had come. From ravage had rescued the roving stranger, Hrothgar's hell. The hardy and wise one had purged it anew. His night walk pleased him, his deed in its honour. To eastern Danes had the valiant Geat his vaunt made good, all their sorrow and ills assuaged, the bale of battle borne so lang, and all the dole the host endured pain of plenty. 'Twas proof of this, when the hardy in fight a hand laid down, arm and shoulder, all indeed a Grendel's grip neath the gabled roof. Many at morning, as men have told us, warriors gathered, the gift hall round. Folk leaders, faring from far and near, our wide-stretched ways, the wonder to view, trace of the traitor. Not troublous seemed the enemy's end to any man, we saw by the gait of his graceless foe, how the weary-hearted, away from thence, baffled in battle and band, his steps, death-marked, dragged to the devil's mere. Bloody the billows were boiling there, turbid the tide of tumbling waves, horribly seething, with sword blood hot. But that doomed one died, we in den of the moor laid forlorn his life at doon. His heathen soul in hell received it. Yem then rode the hoary clansmen from that merry journey, and many a youth on Galloway's white, the hardy warriors back from the mere. Then Beowulf's glory eager they echoed, and all avowed that from sea to sea, or south or north, there was nae other in earth's domain under vault of heaven more valiant found, a warrior's none more worthy to rule. On the Lord beloved they laid nae slight, gracious Hrothgar, a good king he. From time to time they tried in battle that grey steeds set the gallop amain, and ran a race when the road seemed fair. From time to time a thane of the king, we had made many vaunts, was mindful of horses stored with sagas and tales of erd, bound word to word in well-knit rhyme. Well did he lay. This warrior soon at Beowulf's quest right cleverly sang, and artfully added an excellent tale in well-ranged words of the warlike deeds he had heard in saga of Sigmund. Strange the story, he said it all. The wasteland's wanderings wide, his struggles which never were told to tribes of men, the feuds and the frauds, save to Fitella only. When of these deans he deigned to speak, uncle to nephew, As ever the twain stood side by side in stress of war, and multitude of the monsters kind had felled with their swords. As Sigmund grew, when he passed from life, nee little praise, for the doughty in combat a dragon killed, that hoarded the hoard. Under hoary rock the athling dared the deed alone, fearful quest, nor was Fitella there. Yet, say it befell, his falchion pierced that wondrous worm. On the well it struck, best blade. The dragon died in its blood. Thus had the dread one, by daring, achieved o'er the ringhold to rule at will. He self the pleasure. A sea-boat he loaded, and bore on its bosom the beaming gold. Son of Wales, the worm was consumed. He had of all heroes the highest renown among races of men, this refuge of warriors. For deeds of daring that decked his name, since the hand and heart of Heremod grew slack in battle. He, swiftly banished to mingle with monsters at mercy of foes, to death was betrayed. For torrents of sorrow had lamed him too long. A load of care to alls and athelings early proved. Oft indeed in earlier days, for the warriors wayfaring, wise men mourned. We had hoped to him help from harm and bale, and had thought a sovereign son would thrive. Follow his father, his folk protect, the hoard in the stronghold, heroes' land, yea me the shieldings. But here, Thane said, the kinsman of Hela kinder seemed to hell. The other was urged to crime, and afresh to the race, their fallow roads by swift steeds measured. The morning sun was climbing higher. Clansmen hastened to the high-built hell. Them hardy-hearted a wonder to witness. Warden a treasure, crowned with glory, the king himself was stately band from the bride bower strode, and with him the queen and a crowd of maidens measured the path to the mead house fair. Hrothgar spake. To the hall he went, stood by the steps, the steep roof sack garnished with gold in Grendel's hand. For the sight I see, to the sovereign ruler be speedy thanks. A throng of sorrows have borne from Grendel, but God still walks, wonder on wonder, the warden of glory. It was but now that I never mere for woes that weighed on his weighted help lang as I lived, when, lived in blood, stood sword-gore stained the stateliest house. Widespread woe for wise men all. We had nae hope to hinder ever foes infernal and fiendish sprites from havoc in hell. This here and now, by the wielder's might, a work is done, that not all of us host could ever do, by wile and wisdom. Lo, weel can she say we saw a woman, this warrior bore, among sons of men. If still she liveth, that God of the ages was good to her in the both of her bairn. Now, Beowulf thee, a hero's best, I shall heartily love as mine own. Me son, preserve thou ever this kinship new. Thou shalt never lack wealth of the world, that thou wield is mine. Full oft, for less, have our largest showered me precious hoard on a punier man, less stout in struggle. Thyself hast now fulfilled such deeds, that thy fame shall endure through all the ages, as ever he did. Weel may the wielder reward thee still. Beowulf spake, bairn of Ecgtheow. This walk of war most willingly were fought, this fight, and fearlessly dared force of the foe. Fain thee, where I hadst thou but seen his cell, what time the field and his trappings tottered to fall. Swiftly, I thought, in strongest grip on his bed of death to bind him down, that he in the hint of this hand of mine should breathe his last. But he broke away. Him I might not, the Mecca will not, hinder from flight, and form enough hold the life destroyer. Too sturdy was he, the ruthless in running. For rescue, however, he left behind him his hand in pledge, arm and shoulder. No outer help should the coast one thus procure at all. Then the longer liveth he, loathsome fiend, sunk in his sins, but sorrow holds him tightly, grasped in grip of anguish, in baleful bonds, where bide he must, evil outlaw, such awful doom as the mighty Mecca shall meet him out. Mere silent seemed the son of Edgelaf in boastful speech of his battle deeds, since Athens all, although the old's great prowess beheld that hand on the high roof gazing, foeman's fingers. The forepart of each of the story nails to steel was likest. Heaven's hand spear, hostile warriors clear uncanny. 'Twas clear, they said, that him nae blade of the brave could touch, who keen soever or cut away that battle hand bloody from baneful foe. There was hurry and haste and Heorot knew, for hands to be decked, and dense was a throng of men and women, the wine hall to cleanse, the guest room to garnish. Gold gear shone the hangings that were woven a well, and wonders many to delight each mortal that looks upon them. Though braced within by iron bands, that building bright was broken sorely. Rent were its hinges, the roof alone held safe and sound, when seared with crime, the fiendish foe his flight essayed, and life despairing. Nae light thing that, the flight for safety. Essay it we will. Forced to fate, he shall find his way to the refuge ready for race of man, for soul possessors and sons of oath, and there his body on bed of death shall rest after revel. Arrived was the hour when to hell proceeded Halfdana's son. The king himself would sit the banquet. Ne'er had I a host in haughtier throng more graciously gathered round giver of rings. Bowed then to bench those bearers of glory, fain of the feasting. Featly received many a mead cup the mighty in spirit kinsmen we sat in a sumptuous hall, Hrothgar and Hrothulf. Heorot knew was filled with friends. The folk of Shieldens ne'er yet had tried the traitor's deed. The Beowulf gave the bairn of Halfdana a gold-wove banner, golden of triumph, broidered battle flag, breastplate and helmet, and a splendid sword was seen in many born to the brave one. Beowulf took cup in hell, for such costly gifts he suffered nae shame in that soldier throng. For I heard a few heroes in heartier mood were for such gifts, so fashioned with gold on the ale bench, honouring others thus. O'er the roof of the helmet high, a ridge, wound with wires, kept ward o'er the heed, lest the relics of files should fierce invade, sharp in the strife, when that shielded hero should gain a grapple against his foes. Then the all's defence, on the floor, bade lead coursers out, with carven headgear down the hall. One horse was decked with saddle, all shining and set in jewels. 'Twas the battle seat of the best of kings, when to play swords the son of Halfdana was fain to fare. Ne'er failed his valour in the crush of combat, when corpses fell. To Beowulf, o'er them both, then give the refuge of Ingwina, right and poor, our war steeds and weapons, wished him joy of them. Manfully thus, the mighty prince hoard guard for heroes, that hard fight repaired with steeds and treasures, condemned by none, we is willing to say the sooth aright. In the Lord of Alls, to each that come with Beowulf over the briny ways, an heirloom there at the ale bench gave precious gift. And the price be it paying gold for him we Grendel horse murdered. And fain of them mare had killed, had not wisest God a word avoided, and the man's brave mood. The Mecca then ruled humankind, as here knew. Therefore his insight always best, and forethought of mind. How much awaits him a lief and a loathe, we lang time here, through days of warfare this world endures. Then song and music mingled soons in the presence of Halfdina's heather armies, and harping was heard where the hero lay as Hrothgar's singer their hell-joy walked along the mead seats, making his song of that sudden raid on the sons of Finn. Halfdina's hero Naf the Shielding was fated to fall in the Frisian slaughter. Hildeborg needed not hold in value her enemy's honour. Innocent both were the loved ones she lost at the linden play, bairn and brother. The bout of fate, stricken by spears, 'twas a sorrowful woman. None doubted why the daughter of Huck bewailed her doom when dawning come, and under the sky she saw them lying, kinsmen murdered, where most she had kenned of the sweets of the world. But war was swept to Finn's own liegemen, and few were left in a parleying place where he could ply no longer weapon, nor war could he wage on Hengist, and rescue his remnant bereft their arms from the prince's thane. A pact he offered, another dwelling that Danes should have, hell and high seat, and half the poor should fall to them in Frisian land, and that the fee gifts Folkwalder's son day by day the Danes should honour the folk of Hengist favour with rings, even as truly, with treasure and jewels, with fretted gold, as his Frisian kin he meant to honour in ale hell there. Pact of peace the plighted father on both sides formally. Finn to Hengist were oath upon honour, openly promised that woeful remnant, with wise men's aid, nobly to govern, so none of the guests by word or walk should warp the treaty, or with malice of mind bemoan themselves, as forced to follow the fee-giver slayer, lordless men, as their lot ordained. Should Frisian, moreover, were foemen's taunt that murderous hatred to mind recap, then edge of the sword must seal his doom. Oaths were given, in ancient gold heaped from hoard. The hardy Shielding battle-fain best on his balefire lay. All on the pyre were plain to see the gory sark, the gilded swine crest, bore a hard iron, and Athlin's many slain by the sword. At the slaughter they fell. It was Hildeborg's hest, at Naf's own pyre, the bairn of her body on brands to lay, his bones to burn on the balefire placed at his uncle's side. In sorrowful doges bewept them the woman. Great wailing ascended. Then, wound up the welkin, the wildest of death fires roared over the hillock. Heeds all were melted, gashes burst, and blood gushed out from bites of the body. Balefire devoured greediest spirit. Them spared not by war out of either folk. The floor was gone.